I'd like to invite you to bring the attention to the head, to the scalp area. And just as we did last week, move the attention around the scalp area and see what can be felt here. And we can consider the hair of the head, perhaps feeling the touch of the hair on certain parts of the body, the face or the neck. Perhaps feeling the warmth that it provides. Or feeling the follicles. What do I mean? Just what's happening at the skin level. Very sensitive, where the hairs emerge from the body. We can consider the hair, consider its earth element predominance. Solid, unfeeling. It's really dead material that emerges from the body and protects the head. And how much energy and attention we pay to the hair in different ways. And how we can take the time to consider its true nature right now. How attractive it can seem. And yet also how unattractive when it drops out, when it falls in unwanted places, when it's cut off. Good to remember how it really is. I'd like to invite you to move the attention beyond the head and around the body, feeling the skin, this remarkable organ of the body, so sensitive, enveloping the entire form. Can we feel it in different parts of the body, protecting, holding things together, helping to regulate temperature for us. Sometimes moist, sweating, sometimes dry, cold. And all over the body we have these little hairs, body hairs. Consider that, the hairiness of the body. Sometimes very apparent, sometimes almost invisible. If we're cold, the hairs may be standing on end. They may be curly, they may be straight. They insulate and help to keep the body warm, help the surfaces to not stick together. Let's consider body hair as it is in different parts of the body. I'd like to invite you to come back up to the head area. Bring the attention into the mouth, inside the mouth. Let's consider, feel out and contemplate the teeth. Again, earth element. So hard, so solid, so dense. Unfeeling, not alive, as in other parts of the body. But the gums, we can feel. We can feel the saliva coating the teeth. The tongue touching the teeth. Can map them out. Just consider this part of the body. In a beautiful smile, we can feel the teeth so attractive. When we see them individually outside of the body, not so. They're neither attractive nor ugly, they're just what they are. Serving their purpose to break up the food for us so we can swallow it. May I invite you now to bring the attention to the extremities, to the hands and the feet. The fingertips and the toes, the nails, solid, protecting our claws. Just to consider for a few moments these parts of the body that we prune and cut every week or so. We may decorate them to make them look beautiful. Neither beautiful nor ugly. They are what they are. Can we feel them? Can we feel around them? The fingertips, the nail beds, the toes. Are they like a coat of armor to protect these digits for us? we've been paying attention to the surface of the body, what appears to others, the skin, the teeth, the hair, the nails. When we look at someone else, that's what we see. How interesting to really consider what we're looking at. Consider the skin on its own. When we have a meat or fish, we see the skin and we can separate it off from the meat. And it's really quite unappetizing for us, this thin membrane. And so it is with our skin. Not really lovely when considered in a clear light, but it is what it is. It has its function. And we can feel it, every part of the body. Move the attention around the body and feel how alive, how sensitive. Maybe cold, maybe hot. If we have any kind of injury here, how painful it can be. How strongly we feel it. But most of the time we're not noticing. How alive it is. How many messages it's giving us. Paying attention to the skin, both through feeling and through contemplating its nature. Skin. We can begin to develop dispassion towards it. Neither ugly nor beautiful. It is what it is. Let's bring our attention deeply into the body. Let's move under the surface of the skin. We can be aware that there is fat and flesh underneath the skin. We can feel the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, can't we? Let's feel the way the posture is held. Any tension anywhere? Any discomfort anywhere? This framework of the body, the movable parts, the flesh, the sinews. We can notice in the neck area and the shoulders. How are they held? How does it feel? Moving the attention through this area, the muscles, the tendons. See if there's any relaxation. Perhaps around the eyes, perhaps the jaw, perhaps the shoulders. You can experience some letting go of tension when we pay attention here. And moving down, feeling the big muscles at the base of the body, around the hips. Can we sense, can we feel here the holding of the posture? Around the belly, is there any contraction of the muscles here that can be released? Can we observe the posture and lift it, energize it, come upright and feel the movement, feel the flesh, feel the sinews as we adjust our posture. And the arms and the legs, observing here the muscles, the flesh, the holding. No need for any kind of tension or exertion here. The flesh of the body can be very fluid, easeful and relaxed. And let's consider the reality of this body made up of muscles, tendons, and ligaments. If we were to take them out and lay them out on the ground, how would they look? How does this body look when the skin is removed? Just to consider this reality. It's not ugly or repulsive, and it's not beautiful or lovely. It's just what it is. The flesh of the body, to hold it together, to enable it to move. The Buddha invited us to contemplate this for clarity and to help us to develop dispassion towards this body, to know it, to understand it. We can go deeper, right down to the bones, the framework, the strength that enables us to function upright, moving, gives the body its structure, its form. Let's consider the bones. So many different kinds. Bringing the attention over the head, the skull area, thick protective bone, protecting the brain, the sensitive, almost liquid organs of the brain and the eyes. Consider the tiny bones of the ears, enabling us to hear as they vibrate together. The bones of the face, the eye sockets, the sinuses, many spaces enabled here. The jawbone and the spine, coming down from the head all the way, following it down to the base of the body. And the ribs, can we feel them as they move with the breath, allowing this expansion of the lungs, every breath, feeling the rib cage, how it's held by the spine, how it moves. And coming down the spine again to the hips, the large bones of the hips, solidly sitting. Coming down the legs, thigh bones, the knee joints, calf bones, and all the tiny bones of the feet and ankles. Can we feel the bones? Perhaps not, but we can feel the positioning they enable. We can feel their weight. We can know this structure. We know that when this body dies, after some time, they will be the only things that remain. They last. They take a long time to dismantle. And we can picture the skeleton within each of these bodies, around us and this one here. Good to contemplate the skeleton, a sort of gift for us to consider not only this body, but also its passing away. Consider the marrow within the bones that give them relative lightness, that produce the blood, the pus, the lymph. Incredibly active, responsive, source of life for us. right inside the bones. We can't feel all these processes, of course, but we can certainly consider bones, bone marrow, recognizing that there's constant change here. There's no self here. Neither beautiful nor ugly. They are what they are. And so we develop dispassion towards every part of the body as we continue to consider each aspect. The Buddha gave us 32 body parts to contemplate. We could make more, we could make less of this list. It really doesn't matter. The important point is to break it down, dissect it, consider part by part. What is this body? And how easy then to recognize not self, to develop dispassion. Let's continue to consider inside the body, inside the chest area. Let's be aware as we come to this part of the body of the lungs, receiving breath by breath, the life-giving air. Feeling the movement here. So much of space element and air element. Can we feel the heart? Just there on the left side, perhaps beating, well, certainly beating, but perhaps we can feel it, contracting and expanding, pulsating, perhaps, or a sense of heaviness. Can we feel the lining of the chest cavity? That sense of it all being held together. Perhaps a tightness or a fullness. We can both feel out this part of the body and contemplate what's actually there and how it is, how it looks, how impersonal it all is, functioning to keep the body alive. Every part has its work to do. And we can learn through paying attention how it is. I'd like to invite us all to bring the attention down gradually. Consider the stomach, the spleen, the liver, these organs that lie underneath the rib cage. Can you feel anything here? Top of the abdomen, below the lungs. Perhaps the stomach is full, or perhaps there's hunger, sense of space, wanting to be filled. There may be heat. There can be discomfort, a fullness, a heaviness, whatever you feel. We can consider these organs are lying here. There's the spleen, the liver, and the stomach, and how they look if they were to be removed. Quite soft and bloody, maybe quite smelly. Not beautiful, nor, when we really consider it, are they ugly. They're just what they are. And it's very good for us to remember, consider, here they are in this body. This is how it is. And moving our attention down a little bit further, again, feeling out what can be felt. What is it to have a belly under the skin, under the muscles? Can we feel any sense of movement of the guts, intestines, the bowel? Constant activity and flow here. Let's see how we can appreciate this through our mindfulness, through awareness. And feel what it's like. Here in the belly. And we can contemplate intestines, bowel, the contents of the bowel, the food that's getting digested, processed, moving through. Just to take out this part of the body, how would it look? Long tube, wound around and around itself, stuffed into the belly. Just to consider what it is like. How is it? It's not lovely, nor is it terrible. It's just what it is, serving its purpose. Remarkable design. Body. Made up of earth, water, fire, and air. Impersonal. Subject to change. Moving around this part of the body, let's remember we have the kidneys at the back, firm organs each side of the body. We have all the reproductive organs, the prostate or the uterus, the ovaries, testicles, all these parts of the body, the bladder. Sometimes we can feel. We need to feel when it's full, when it's stretched. We can feel the discomfort there. And all these other organs, some very sensitive, very apparent to us when we pay attention there, others less so. Let's consider all these parts of the body, the reproductive organs inside and outside, the kidneys and the bladder, releasing the excess fluid of the body. Can we feel what we feel? And when we consider all these components, not really very beautiful, actually, nor are they ugly. They're just what they are. They have their purpose. Made up of earth, water, fire, and air. Not me, not mine. Impermanent. The more we allow ourselves to wake up to the way the body actually feels and the way the body actually is, the more peaceful, the more calm, the more balanced the mind can be. And we can notice this. It's a kind of mastery, isn't it, of the mind, to see things as they really are, to get into this understanding whose result is dispassion, equanimity, peacefulness. These contemplations can be a source of samadhi for us, focusing the mind, clearing the mind of hindrances. Let's keep considering this body in different ways. These 32 body parts the Buddha suggested for us to consider also include the fluid aspects, the blood, perhaps felt, sense of pulsation, warmth, movement. Pus, tears, the liquidness of the fat, of the brain, fluidity of saliva in the mouth, the moisture that coats the eyeballs, Just considering predominance of water element here. The fluid in the joints. Sense of that which lubricates and enables movement to happen. In all these different ways, we can consider these fluid aspects of the body, and we can feel so much. This quality of lubricating as we swallow. As the body quite naturally moves within the bowels, within the intestine, the stomach. And so in all these different ways, we can break up the body into its components. And I'd like to invite us to really develop this contemplation to help us to emerge, to extricate ourselves from the delusions around body, the attraction to bodies, and the lust and passion and desire that can arise. This is a wonderful way to cool, to soothe, and to put out the fire of desire. Not to move from desire into aversion, but to neutralize desire, to allow us to see things clearly, to relate to these bodies in a normal, natural way. So we can sit in silence now for 10 minutes or so, considering the body in all these different ways. Breathing deep and checking posture from time to time. I'll ring the gong at the end of this session.